to walk on the street and say, I'm a gay, and then, it was more acceptable than a sodomizer. Then at the end, they say, no. Now they go to gay into homosexual. From homosexual, now they call it civil marriage in the United States, and now they in the West. And now they are now claiming to have the right to adopt like anybody. This is the catastrophe that they want us to come into. The second thing is about the history. It started there, and the history will tell us also the kind of punishment which was meted on these people. And the punishment is telling us that not only sitting with a sodomizer, not only eating with him, but you should definitely, you should avoid sitting with him. What happened is that when the angel came, and before, previously, they used to definitely eradicate some cities in different types. There might be some screaming and then they die, but they have leftovers. The wells, the buildings. Some of them, they would have wind coming. But with this one, Jibril was asked to put his wing bottom of the city and then put it upside down. Not only that, and followed by stones from hellfire to make sure that they were totally eradicated. They were absolutely eradicated. Meaning that the leftovers should not even be considered. Which means that when you live, I hope you don't live with a homosexual, but at least when you see a sodomizer who uses a plastic bag, don't use that plastic bag. When a sodomizer, for example, cook, don't eat. When a sodomizer, for example, uses his dishes and washes, make sure that you avoid the water. Why? Because this is what the punishment is telling us. So we have to be very careful. Thirdly, to conclude with, is about this philosophical ground on the sodomizers or whatever. They talk about human right. Human right is not human right, it's divine right. One of my professors told me that Sigmund Freud said, in his psychology, he said many things new and many things true. But everything he said true was not new, and everything he said new was not true. The same thing applies to the human right of today. There are many things new in human right and many things genuine. Everything genuine in human right is not new, and everything new is not genuine. Because human right is a divine right. It is Islam who tells the world, who teaches the world human right. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created human beings, and with their creation come with all those rights. If you go to any other laws, any other system, talk about the Charter of the United Nations, talk about the United Nations of the Declaration of Human Rights, talk about the national constitutions, all those documents and instruments are only declaring rights that were there before. They are not constitutive. I call them declaratory and not constitutive. Why? Because these rights were constituted by Allah, and Allah who constituted them is the best to interpret those laws. So that we have to be very careful. As a country of religion, 90% Muslims, 95% Muslims or whatever, and the remaining Christian, we are a religious country. We should not allow others to invade our civilization and telling us nonsense that will let us into catastrophe. So I think this is what I wanted to say, and we thank you very much for this program. And I would like to conclude that this homosexual thing is just one of a series of bad things that we are witnessing in the Muslim countries, and we should not slip to snow when we see, because don't follow the steps of Satan. Homosexual is just one of them, but there are other things that we should address, and I think the Bantaba should from now on use Supreme Islamic Council to address those issues, not only at the theoretical level, but at the practical level, to make sure that when the punishment came from Allah, we will be safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for that eloquent explanations with regards to sodomy, unnatural act, and homosexuality. In itself, both Islam and Christianity. And if you go to the Holy Quran, when it talks about the loot issues, it mentions about the Torah, the Injils, and the Holy Quran, and they all saw. You mentioned something. The punishment of homosexuality,
yes,
the sins,
yes,
and the punishment meted out to them. And a lot of sin that people commit, and, yes, and the punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala varies. But what is special in the punishment of homosexuality?
What is special is that, you see, Imam Fatah has just quoted hadith. You see, he's saying that you execute the doer and on whom the act is done. In zina, of course, if in adultery, if you can have an affair with a woman who is not your wife, and then if you are married, it is called adultery. If you are not married, it's called fornication, and the punishment is different. As a fornication, you are given some lashes. As an adulterer, meaning if you are married, you are stoned to death. But for sodomizers, use it now. Use sodomizers from now on in your
clarity for other people to understand.
As a man meeting a man, we are not asking you to get married or not to get married. The Prophet is saying that wherever you find them, execute them. The doer and the one on whom it is done. Not only that, suppose that if we have a real power to make sure that these people does not exist, we put them somewhere. You know what I mean? Definitely anything that make them far away from us, because we are avoiding punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and not us listening to any other thing. This is our country, and we have to protect it.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Viewers, you are reminded that you are watching your National Bandaba, and our topic of discussion today is on the ungodly act of homosexuality, that is gay and lesbians, and our guests tonight are members of the Gambia Supreme Islamic Councils, headed by Imam Abdullah Fati. Mbokk yi ñu ngi leen a fàttali yéen a ngi seetaan seen programme bi di National Bandaba, te li ñoo waxtaan mooy affaire yi nga xam ne góor ak góor ñu ñoo sëy, jigéen ak jigéen tamit di sëy, te dégg nañ li nga xam ne loolu la gars yi Supreme Islamic Council ñi nga xam ne ñoom ñooy suñu gante, te wax nañu ne Islam, Christianity ak lu ne daf ko bañ. Kon docteur imam okay
punishment bu moy wax ni daf ko ombani
okay afo man nga ko
ay punishment o min fonu aya fuddile num so na e jefre wala mu nyenti ko biri ala ye punish ni aja ka fo ko na be dami kana taraje na e fewmi yusi kana use ko so biri ala ye punish ala man ila be yamlu jube kuno mi ribo lata me jube environment o min bija bele destroyed ya jele akita tumbu walti ya famule yironte beyawonte banko fon banko mun ko ala yo fon bele destroy ay ba fontindije mi yalon ko fembu ka balu ba kono keta detsi
aka munna ko nying ala haramu aman haputala
inen ma ala soki nyi nyon junu bola saman ke fulan ka fiyati
inshallah Dr. Senghor jarayef.
Okay, thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin wa sallallahu wa sallam ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa khiyamati. Allahumma rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Thank you very much, Honorable Njai. Imam Fati ak Dr. Njai wax nañ lépp. liñ ci wax moo ci ne kenn mënut a wax lu ko ci ëpp. point bi may gën a emphasize rek may laaj comme ni ko Dr. Njai waxee ñun dëkki jullit lañ. As Muslims, suñ point of departure, suñ point of reference mooy alquran al-karim wala mooy sunna mooy li Islam wax wala li su fekkee ne Christian si lañ li Christianity wax ci Bible bi. Man, I always say, even those that call it unnatural sex, I attack them on the front. Because society, some of the interpretation of sodomization and whatever sodomy, even in the classical Islamic sources, like I said it the last time, they use the word suzuzul jinsi, which means unnatural sex. And I said because there's this tradition of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that a deen fitra, Islam deen is the religion of nature. Fitra, deen fitra la. Lepp lo xamne dafa ñew te against nature rek dafa nek un-Islamic. So bu fekkee ne nangu nañ ne acte bi jibam is unnatural, is an unnatural act, then automatically that disqualifies from the Islamic, from the realm of Islamic practice. So it's automatically un-Islamic because act is unnatural. Islam diine fitra la. Moo tax nga gis ne ngelaw bi ngay nokki dafa am na lu muy def ci yow because dafa dëppook sa nature. Ndox bi ngay naan am na liggéey bi muy def ci yow dafa dëppook sa nature. Looy def rek te mu nekk natural am na njëriñ lu lay jox because dafa dëppook sa nature. Loo xam ne nag dafa unnatural is against the teaching of Islam. Now li ko comme niñ ko waxee ñoom ñaar ñëpp yàlla moo ñu bind def ñu góor ak jigéen. Yàlla ñu def góor ak jigéen yàlla moom la neex ne ba mu ñu bindee doore ko ci maam Adama ak maam Adama Awa foog ñu jurante waaye suñu reproductive faculties yi dafa am natural course bu mu war a jaar dafa am yoonu bu mu war a jaar pour mun a jëriñ comme ni ko imam Fatou dina expliqué foog am na nu ñu war a loolu la ñuy wax natural sex moo tax sharia bi mu ñëwee li mu régulé mooy natural sex it's not unnatural sex unnatural moom is totally condemned moom la sharia régulé woon ñu ne comme ni ko docteur Diop waxee njaalo dafa xaraam lii dafa xaraam lii dafa xaraam waaye su ñëwee through natural way we do it in the natural in the way that religion and the manner in which religion accepts it becomes automatically and entirely Islamic su ko defee ñu mën a procreate ñu mën a jurante